Well, go on, traders. Yeah, the traders here again. So, just want to give you guys a quick little update here on Neo. I know a lot of people could be wondering what's going on. Me too. I'm wondering what's going on with Neo. So I say, let me put something together in terms of what I think may be happening. So, usually I do videos for Mullen, but I'm also, invested in Neo. I've been invested in Neo for quite a while. From Neo was like around $2, $3. I was watching it before I started buying at $5, and that is when the Chinese government actually had bailout Neo. So from then I was saying, hey, to myself, if the Chinese government is willing to back a company, that means it won't let it fail. But so I've been invested from that time, but come on, Neo, you need to do something, guys. You need to break out of the slump. So here is what I is happening with Neo, guys. As you know, I work with what the charts tell me. Okay, so if you see my screen here, let me make it a little bit bigger for those that are on their mobile devices. I drew this chart, this trend line, not the chart, but the trend line. This red trend line here, a diagonal trend line, 2 years ago. So this is 2023, this is 2022, this is 2021. So I drew this trend line 2 years ago when Neo ran up all the way to 60, almost 67. And I drew this trend line at that time to say, hey, usually stocks follow the trend. And I'm always looking for opportunities for a breakout. So I'm on the weekly chart, so I've zoomed out all the way, and this is the trend line that I drew 2 years ago. And all I did is just in this application, Thinkorswim, you can just right click and say extend trend line. So this is the trend line that it has been following for the past 2 years. Look at that. It is so uncanny. So I did a video a couple weeks back, maybe about 3 weeks ago, saying that Neo needs to break out of this downward trend line for it to actually start running again. So if you look here, Neo had kind of popped out of this downward trend line. It's not a convincing pop, because what you want to see, usually if anything is coming out of a trend, you want to see a complete candle, and this would be a weekly candle living above the trend line, whether it's be a horizontal support or resistance or a diagonal. You want to see a full candle live above that, and that's kind of what I saw when the candle popped out of the trend, but it came back down a little bit. And at the time I had said, hey, Neo needs to hold that $12 level, which is here, in order to start, reversing this downward, coming out of this downward trend. So it would be like a reversal. So it will start moving up like an upward trend. But then came as you all know, the balloon fiasco. And then the U.S. relationships kind of, got sour again. So it didn't hold the $12. It came back down a bit. So let me zoom in and show you guys what's happening here. All right, so this is the trend line I drew during that video, and we were down, I think here. It went up, and I said Neo need to hold this trend line, this upward trend line, in order and stay above the 12 in order for it to be a full show the conviction for it to be really moving away from that huge downward trend. But unfortunately, Neo fell back down. Once it popped through the $12, it started coming back down again. All right, so this is where we are, guys. So it's now following this downward trend here. Okay, so the next level of support is actually at we are at another level of support at $10 right here, guys. But a stronger level of support is at $9.65. So what we want to see NEO do for the next couple of days is kind of pop out of this downward trend here. Let me extend this line. We want to see NEO pop out of this little downward trend, pop above here, in order to start going back up to retest the $12. And if that happens, then we'll know that all of these movements here is basically a consolidation on NEO's part. That is what we want to see happen. And if there's a consolidation, then that means there's a sideways movement, which is always a good thing. And it's not the stock being broken down below this support. But we want to see NEO hold this $10 here and continue to push up, to pop through and push up a bit. So let's take a look and see. This is the 4-hour chart, guys. So let's take a look and see what's going on with the RSI. What is the RSI saying? So the RSI at this level, it is saying right now NEO is oversold. It is oversold. Here it was saying that it was overbought. Now it's saying it's oversold. So with being oversold, we would want to see it push back up from this level. So everything appears to be set for it to be, pushing back up again. So let me add another study here, what's called a MACD. We have the conversion and divergence. Not going to get into the technical stuff, but so this is called the volume weighted MACD. So if you notice here where there's greens on the MACD, this is when NEO would basically be pushing up. And right now we kind of staying above on the green. Not strong, not very strong, but we're staying above this midpoint. So where it's green, that means buying volume, and buying in terms of the market trend itself, it's more bullish than bearish. So it's at the 4-hour chart, it is green, and it looks like it's holding at the 4-hour chart. Let's take a look and see what's going on with at the higher level, the weekly chart level. So if you take a look here, you can see that it's also green on the weekly chart level. So overall, it looks positive for NEO, but I guess with everything that is happening, it's a little bit stagnant at this point. So as I have said before, all we want to see is for NEO to pull away from this downward trend, start pulling away from that downward trend, and start pushing back up. Once it stays above $12, goes back up to 12 and stays above 12, or continue to consolidate, I think NEO will be fine. And NEO is I think is a great company. They're doing a lot of stuff. And let's take a quick look at Yahoo Finance. So for NEO, I notice here that they have earnings that will be coming out March 1st. So hopefully, usually stocks run up before earnings date. So hopefully between now and the next 2 weeks for NEO, we can see the stock run up a bit. So, all right, so that's all I have for you guys. As I said, I basically just follow what the charts are giving me, but I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that we'll see some, good movement from NEO. And I know a lot of persons are invested in NEO, including myself, and I know it's a great company, so I want to see it do well, despite it being a Chinese company. It's a great company making record sales, record deliveries, all that stuff. And in terms of the battery swap, technology. That's also great. So, all right, so that's what I have for you guys for now. So next time, I'll give you another update once I see anything that I want to kind of touch base with you guys on. But take care, and until then.